I'm Dana Denha, and you're watching FYI. Chelsea Sights and Sounds has a how-to series that is bringing out the kid in all of us. Check it out. How to Chalk is teaching art lovers of all abilities how to make a slab of cement into a canvas.
My position as chalk art coordinator is to bring easy how-to draw sheets for kids to learn how to draw some of their favorite characters.
About 5 years ago, I seen some little kids outside drawing with chalk on the sidewalk, and I said, you know, little kids only do what's fun, so I got some chalk and I went out and started to draw and realized I could draw. I had no clue I could draw.
Each week, a new theme was picked to brighten up the sidewalk beneath the Chelsea Clock Tower.
We're doing a superhero contest with a bunch of superheroes doing chalk things. It's pretty cool.
Once they get the basic shapes down, I get down on the ground with them and I show them how to blend the chalk, how to really work with the pavement, get the right colors and the right shading.
I just like drawing, and I'm just doing it to have fun with my dad here.
It's this beautiful temporary artistic form. You really have to get the thrill and the rush of it just to get it done and to see what you can do and then start all over again the next day.
Stay tuned, and we'll be back shortly with more news and information. You know the saying, birds of a feather flock together? Well, that's definitely true of one local club. The Ann Arbor Companion Bird Club welcomes all with a passion for birds.
That club was designed and developed to promote the care of birds, to promote better education and rescue.
You have to give them food and water at all times and make sure everything's clean for them. When they're sick, you got to give them medicine, you got to care for them, just like a baby.
Mostly we're about educating people about birds, educating ourselves, learning new things, and just visiting with other bird people.
Every year, the club hosts an exotic bird exhibition.
We came here to present our canaries to the public, and you know, I breed canaries, and this is a beautiful hobby of mine. I had it since I was a little baby, and I enjoy it. I love them when they're breeding, when they're feeding the babies, and I enjoy it very much when I hear their sound in the morning with the coffee. Make the coffee taste better.
They have good quality toys that they need to buy, okay? They can talk to the vendors, they can find out about the birds.
Education, education, education is the best way to start. You need to know if anyone in the household has allergies or breathing problems. You need to know how much time you're willing to commit, how much space within your home.
It's the sound of the bird, it's peace. You know, there's nothing better than the sound of peace.
For additional information on the Ann Arbor Companion Bird Club, visit aacbc.org. There are so many plant species available out there, but it benefits the ecosystem when you think about greenery native to our area. Learn more about native planting from the Natural Area Preservation in this month's City Roundup in 60.
Hi, my name is Michael Hahn. I'm a stewardship specialist with the City of Ann Arbor's Natural Area Preservation. Today we're going to talk about using native plants for gardening. Native plants are not only beautiful, but they're also beneficial to wildlife, such as pollinators like bees and butterflies. So when you're thinking about gardening, you want to think about color throughout the whole season. And so thinking about using penstemon in early June or common milkweed, which would be beneficial to monarchs, or you could use black-eyed Susans later in the summer, or you could switch over and use goldenrods for late August, and even use asters for late fall. Like I mentioned before, native plants, not only are they beautiful, but they're also beneficial to wildlife.
There's a mystery brewing at Riverside Art Center in Ypsilanti as PTD Productions is unlocking clues to solve a crime in Anatomy of Murder. The scene is set in the Upper Peninsula as a local innkeeper dies under suspicious circumstances. Joining me is Alice Fell, director, and Paddy Ash, assistant director for Anatomy of Murder. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell me a synopsis of Anatomy of Murder? Because I didn't even know. I don't know anything about this show, but you said it's a true story.
Yes, this is a true story. It happened in, it took place in the Upper Peninsula, I think Iron City?
Marquette area.
In the Marquette area, in the early 50s. And it's a story about a trial that came to be because of a murder that happened. Now, murders didn't happen very often in that area of Michigan, particularly in that time period. And the story revolves around a husband and wife. The husband is a lieutenant in the Army, and his wife is just kind of a UP wife, although they travel around a lot. They live in a trailer, at least at this point in their lives. And she's kind of a, in those years, what you'd call a hussy, or in the play they referred to her as a floozy. And she liked to go out and drink and flirt and all that kind of stuff. So one night she went out with the bartender of this particular bar and claims in a couple of hours when she goes home that she was beaten severely, and evidently she's all bruised, and raped. And the husband, who has a kind of a quick temper, claims that he lost it when he saw her and got into his car with his gun and went to the bar, and not with the intention of killing him, with the intention of grabbing him, because he didn't want him to get away until the authorities got him. But one thing led to another, and he killed him. And of course he got arrested for doing that. So that is all brought out in the first act of the play. That explanation. And then the second two acts of the play revolve around the trial that took place in the Upper Peninsula. And the story, of course, in the story we know he committed the murder. He never denied committing the murder. What became the issue was it a premeditated act of malice, or was it truly he lost it and had what they call an irresistible impulse, and then would have been considered insane at the time of the murder. And that's how the trial evolves, and then of course there is a verdict at the end of the trial.
And you should go see the show.
Go see the show if you
find
want
out
to
the
know
verdict.
what happened. And one interesting legal point is that particular defense is no longer allowable. You can't get off on irresistible impulse.
I had never heard of that before when you mentioned it.
Well, you're young. And I forget what Norm said. I think maybe in the mid 70s that changed. The law changed in Michigan. I guess too many people were getting off on that. Although insanity, you can still use insanity as a legal defense, but then you go away to an institution to serve your time there until you're deemed okay to come back into society. But with this irresistible impulse defense, if you're found not guilty based on that, and that is what led you to be insane, then you're off scot-free.
Really?
Yeah.
So let's talk about maybe some of the challenges you had with this show. And Paddy, you can chime in too, because this is a large undertaking. There's a huge cast in the show.
Not only a huge cast, but the lines for some of the actors were many. Pages and pages and pages.
And I assume that probably there's a lot of talking over each other too at points.
What do you think was a challenge, Paddy?
Well, I think that, first of all, the actors have done a beautiful job because, as I said, there's so many lines, some of them have. And then having such a large cast and fitting everybody together at the right time has been a tremendous challenge for Alice. And she's done a great job with it. So I think that that it's a worthwhile play. And also up in the Marquette area, there's a little museum of sorts. I haven't seen it, but it's a big deal up in the Marquette area that this movie was filmed up there. So
we have to take a field trip after you're done.
Yes, we should.
Well, one of my actors suggested that we do that.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Andy suggested that we do that.
Yeah.
But there was no time.
Yeah.
There was no time.
Maybe next year.
The fact that it was a large cast was my biggest challenge. The most people I've ever directed, I think, were 10 or 11 in the cast, which is a good-sized cast.
Yeah, that's a good-sized cast for sure.
But a few extras makes a big difference. And for some reason, I've got a lot of old-time actors from Ann Arbor in this.
Yeah.
Some people will recognize Susan Morris's name from Morris Co. Tim Henning is in it. Chris Potter, who used to write for the Ann Arbor News in reviews, is in it. And so when these people came to audition, I'm like, oh my God. These people have, a lot more. Well, I have a lot of experience, but they have a lot more experience than me.
Yeah.
And I was like, how am I going to direct them?
Yeah.
But it was really interesting to find out how much direction they actually needed.
Yeah.
And that through, the learning process, and every play is a learning process.
Sure,
And they did very well with it, too. They didn't lose their tempers or
No,
anything
we all managed to come to, agreement on how things were going to be done.
Yeah.
And who was directing the play.
That's right.
And, Paddy was very, very supportive. And I think things, have worked out really well. We had a full dress rehearsal yesterday, which was our first full dress.
Yeah.
And they could have gone on. I mean, it was that good.
That's great.
So I've got my fingers crossed for tonight.
Well, and Paddy, you actually have a dual role. You're taking the stage now too, right?
Yeah, and last night I had one line, I flubbed it. That was very embarrassing. I just actually clutched.
Yeah.
I'm practicing a lot now.
Yeah. So when is the show running? It starts Thursday.
It starts Thursday, and we'll run Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday matinee. And then, I don't know
Wednesday
the exact
afternoon.
date, then the following Wednesday, August 30th, we have a matinee.
Yeah.
And then we run the 31st, September 1st, and September 2nd. And so that's another challenge of the play, is that the first weekend is during Heritage Festival in Ypsilanti, and the second weekend is Labor Day.
Yeah. Well, but you got some big name actors in there, so hopefully they can bring in a crowd.
Yes, big name for our community.
Yes. So before we go, just tell people why they should come check out your version of Anatomy of Murder. And I think you should have an interesting take on it, because you actually told me you acted in this show before, and now you're taking the director's seat. So.
Yes. I think it's an interesting show. Murder mysteries are always kind of exciting, and even though this is based on a true story, it's an entertaining play, and it has nothing to do with politics. And so I think it would be a moment for people to get out of all the craziness that's been going on for the last several months and just come and enjoy the show. And if it's hot during Heritage Festival, then it'll be a wonderful place to come in and cool off.
Paddy,
Yeah, and the theater's lovely, too. It really is. Very accommodating for people. I just wanted to mention that my ex brother-in-law was inspired by that movie in the 50s and did become an attorney.
Oh.
My kids told me that.
So it's a tale that people are very interested in.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you both for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
For more on this and other programming, visit a2gov.org/CTN. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time to FYI.